Welcome in Unified IT Solution. Hello guys. Today we are going to discuss about the importance file of the Splunk. We have many files in Splunk which are very important. So today we are going to discuss, which are most important file into Splunk, which can impact your environment with immediate changes. So those like while change making any change to those configuration file, this configuration file, so you have to be very carefully. So some of these like core configuration file, input.conf file, probes.conf file, transform.conf file, index.conf file, and server.conf file. So let's go through overview of those file. So introduction to Splunk configuration file. Like Splunk configuration file define how Splunk behave, process data, stored information, and the purpose the file allow customization and fine tuning of the Splunk component. The location of these files are mostly configuration file in Splunk stored under the home path of Splunk under etc system local or in apps home etc apps. It's depend. Core Splunk configuration file, general overview like Splunk configuration file are key to how operate, process incoming data and manage indexing and visualization. So let's discuss one by one. Inputs.conf file. So this configuration file is very important to Splunk. So purpose of this configuration file, configure data input such as a file monitor, network monitor, and scripted input file. So this configuration file mostly exists on the client side on the UF or either HF, which play a very important role for to collect the data from the customer server. What are the important keys are here like disable, we can disable the input, enable the input, and source type, what source type of the data, index, which index is data should be stored, host, which host we are collecting data. So in below you can see an example like monitor where log apache access total log. Disable false means it's enable the monitoring stanza, it's giving the path from where you want to collect the data through this configuration file. Source type like the type of the data we are collecting, so it could be anything related to your data. So right now it's access and underscore combine. Index is web where you want to store this data or indexer, and then later it could be used to search your data. Next is probes.conf file. So probes specify how data is parsed and transformed. So it is ingest into the Splunk. Key component of probes: source type, line breaker, time prefix, time format. So main purpose of the probe.conf file is to refine or define your data, how it will get stored into the Splunk. So some log file don't have the line break, like they look like a single event. So for that, like there are some certain uh, parameter that we could use into the probes, and mostly this configuration file reside on heavy folder or either indexer. If you don't have HF, it would be on indexer side. So line breaker is something like how when your event happens, so how the first event would be break on which line. Time prefix, like sometime Splunk won't recognize by default what is the time format in your data. So time prefix define like first is a date, second is a month, third is a year. So in that way we can define the to look at your event, we can analyze and we can define the time format and time prefix. So time prefix is something from where the time start, and time format is what is the format of your time. So if you look at the below example access combined line breaker, so line breaker is nothing but when your event first one single event ended and next event will be start. So mostly of the event you will see that the timestamp itself is first line of the event, and from there you can see that first event is start and next event will be first event is ending and next event will be start. Time prefix like from slash bracket is the time prefix, like before time format, like before time is defined into the event. So this the big bracket is there, so to ignore like or to start we define the time prefix. So time prefix could be anything, either it's space or maybe other, you know, some caret or some dot. You can define time prefix. So like it depend on your data, what is there before your time format. Then time format, like how your data will be, like slash d slash b slash y. So slash d means date, slash b means either it's January or Jan. So there are certain, you know, keys, or you can see certain argument which is, you can find it out in Splunk document, where you can see percentage b means January or it's Jan. Y small means is like last 2 years of the year, like 24 right now, and capital it means 2024. So h means hour, m means minute, and s is for second. So this is the format in your data, and as per that format we define it here. Next is transformer data. So transform file is also a very important file in Splunk, and mostly reside on HF. If no HF, it will be an indexer. So it's defined how to transfer data, and it is index. So we can use the regex regular expression format for transferring destination key. So let's see the example. So extract underscore IP. So this definition will have to define into the probe. So these two files are linked in between. So whatever stanza we define into the probes, or you can say schema we define into the probe, that the same schema you can explore into the transformation, like extract hyphen ip. So it look like we are trying to extract the ip which is not the default field into the data. So we'll extract the data and we'll create the new field. So with the regex, you see it will start with question mark and p. So it started capturing data, and the new field will be ip, and slash like forward d plus means we are only looking digit whenever it end with the next dot. And similarly, like we have four octet of uh, four octet of the ip. So all we will capture into that, and we will create a new field ip, and in a format like whatever the value of the regex, whatever capturing of the regex, it's a $1. You can, by comma you can keep a multiple value, and then you can add it here. So in the format like ip colon colon 1, the format, then $1 stored into the ip field, the comma, then next you can store in regex. You have to simplify, like you have to define in that same level. Destination key is nothing where you want to store this data. So by default we store the destination key on the raw data, like it will store into the raw data. This field will be created into the raw data itself. Okay. So next is index.conf file. So index.conf file is a very important file when you are using the Splunk enterprise. Like in last video I also said, like enterprise and cloud will make a separate video. So this is very important file which is available on cluster master and deploy on the indexer. So this file define like what should be the name of your logical entity, which is called index. So when you search your data, you define your index name. So there are four key component which are very important in the index node file, like home path, cold path, max data, and max bucket. So directory of the storing data for home path, directory of storing older index data is a cold path, max data size, like what could be the maximum size of your data, max hot bucket, like number of hot bucket that can exist into your for your index. So these are the four important, the key component of the index.conf file. So below you see the main, under this stanza the main is the uh, name of the index, then home path, and then db path. Main is another, the index name, and then cold path also main and cold db. So this is two path where it will store the most recent data into the home path, and cold db it will store the older index data. Max hot span bucket, like the home in home path, maximum bucket could be 3, then it will be automatically roll out into the cold path. So when data is to the home path, so it will be a very fast and efficiency to search. So performance will be very good, but after some time it will move to the cold path, and yeah, still it will be a very fast, but compared to home path it is lesser. server.com file. The purpose configure general setting for Splunk services and server parameters. So this is a very common file which you will find on universal folder as well. HF, indexer, search at, deployer, deployment server, all the component, most of all the component you will find on this. So host, it will define the name of the host of the server, Splunk, which you would find into the during this search. The server name of the Splunk instance, like what is the name of the Splunk instance. Management host, like define the management ports, like if you are using this on deployment server, so you will find, you know, the cluster master port, sorry, the search at captain, and on cluster master, in search at you will find the cluster master management host and port. So it depend upon which component it is, so according to that it will be, its configuration will be defined. So in general stance I will see like server name is this and host name is this, like my local server. So name of the server is, you know, the name you can keep it any name, and the host is what is your local server name, and management host you can, like this is just an example, this is depend upon where is this file exists. So all this is depend. So what is the best practice would say? So organizes configuration, keep customization in separate app for easier management. So like input.conf file, output.conf file, you can keep it separate for your easier management, and it will be like on deployer as input.conf. You have many applications. So for each application, it's better to manage on different input.conf file for each application. Version controlling, like whenever you are making any change to the configuration file, make sure you manage its backup for your rollback situation. Avoid direct edit. Whenever possible, use Splunk UI for change. Like because human error mostly will find a home error. We press unnecessary key and it will get stored into the file, and you will start getting into the trouble. So instead of this, most of the input is available through the UI, so make sure you update it through the UI to minimize the configuration error. Test change, always test configuration change before pushing to configure. So any change you are doing into the production, make sure you do testing in your to dev or UAT environment, then only you will go into the production. Okay, last but not the least, conclusion, summary, configuration file play a very crucial role in managing customized Splunk environment. Understanding their purpose and structure help ensure optimal performance and smooth operation. So yeah, so each any tool, any tool, either it's a monitoring security or any other tool. So the configuration file play a very crucial important role. So and immediate to the to any configuration file, it could be make you in trouble, or update it, and it will change your all your overall structure of your environment. So make sure before making any change to the configuration file, you should be very short, or either you test into your test environment, then only come to the production. Final thing, like regularly review documents, change, and always backup your file before making any adjustment. Thank you guys, and I'll see you on my next video. And thank you for watching this video. Kindly share, subscribe our video, and support our channel.